Hi, and welcome back to Temple Baptist Church. This is our online devotion. I'm glad that you're with me today. And today I'm talking about the Tabernacle of God. This comes from Revelation chapter 21. I've already looked at verse 1, verse 2, and today we're going to be looking at verse 3. Verse 1, let me start there and I'll work my way down. It says, "Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no more sea. Then I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven and from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, 'Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with men, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God.'" The tabernacle of God. When you hear that phrase, most people think about the Old Testament. When the tabernacle of God was mentioned in the Old Testament, it was mentioned as a movable temple. It wasn't something set in place, but it was something that was a tent. It was temporary. It was movable, and the Israelites could take that tabernacle with them from place to place so that the presence of God would be there. They would have a place where they could worship him, and they could know that his presence was there. Exodus chapter 25, verse 8, records God's command to Moses for the people to make him a, quote, sanctuary that he may dwell among them. So that's how the tabernacle came to be. God commanded it. Moses was obedient. The people made it, and then they carried it with them. In every place they stopped, they erected this tabernacle. Hebrews chapter 9 calls the tabernacle the earthly sanctuary and says that it was to be prepared in a specific way and that it had a righteous purpose and that it was called the holiest of all. Yet, it did not have the same significance as the temple once the temple was built in Jerusalem. Here in Revelation, specifically in this particular verse, John's use of tabernacle carries the understanding of holiness and the presence of God. It's not a tent, it's not a physical place, but in fact, the tabernacle is God dwelling with men, God dwelling with his children in the majesty of his glory. There's a song that has the phrase, "Face to face, we shall behold him." And we know that that is true. And that's what's significant about this passage. When you look here, it says, "Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God." In the Old Testament and before, God wasn't necessarily with them. We are told that we are the temple of the Holy Spirit, God being with us through his Holy Spirit, and yet we would be unable to see the full glory of God, unable to be in his presence, even though we would have the Holy Spirit. But here, this is telling us in the New Jerusalem, God will be present with men. We will be able to see fully who he is, see fully his glory, his majesty, and we will be able to worship him in spirit and in truth, in holiness, in purity, and in all ways we will be able to bow before him and say that he alone is God. I hope that this has blessed you today. I trust that you will like it and share it with someone else. And then, as well, if you don't have a church home, we invite you to come and join us here at Temple Baptist Church. We meet on Sundays at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., and 6 p.m. On Wednesday nights, we're here at 7 p.m. for Bible study and prayer. Come and let us help you grow in your relationship with God the Father, that someday you may also be present and be able to experience the true tabernacle of God. We'll see you next time as we continue our study in the book of Revelation.